Hey everybody, Thunder here. I was thinking today about some things well, first let me state that I see the plunge protection team or the manipulation team has been at work on the stock market end of things, just like I kind of thought they would be. They always do that. Like I said, the chewing gum and baling wire comes in right after the big correction, as they call it. That was some correction. And everybody's like jubilant today and throwing their arms up and cheering. And I wouldn't be cheering too soon, people. Uh, just my take. Sometimes I think, now the other thing that I was thinking about is sometimes I think that this is way beyond what we can even imagine. I was doing a little ritual yesterday and prayers to Great Spirit and trying to connect with that frequency. Because of what's going on and just in general, I do that a lot. I don't know, I had some surprising revelations or thoughts come to me, visions, about this being way beyond what we even think it is. This whole thing with, well, let's say the nations being at war and the financial wars and the financial, instability and Russia and China and America going at it and all these different things. And sometimes I wonder, these are thoughts that come to me. Could this all be a big game? Could all the nations be in this together? That's one thought. And then, well, if they aren't, it's a power play. It's a huge power play. And whether they're in it together or not, they all know a lot more than what we think they do. And they all are way ahead of the game as far as manipulation and trickery and feeding false information and just all those kind of things. Now, as a pilot, I was thinking about technology, and I was thinking about a lot of things like this MH17 or whatever the number is. Man, there's been so many of them that was supposedly shot down, and the countries are arguing over who did it, and Russia did it, and this and that, and they don't know this and they don't know that. Let me tell you something here, people. I think that the technology, I think they know exactly what's going on. I think all countries know exactly what's going on with all these things, and I'll tell you why. Because when I was flying, there was a spy plane. It was called the SR-71 Blackbird, okay? And that spy plane could fly up next to the ionosphere, and it had cameras on there that could take it was said, okay, that it could take the picture of a dime and you could see the date on it, okay, on the ground. It was a super advanced spy plane in my day. Now that has long been retired, okay? That aircraft has long been retired, and as are so many other aircrafts, or I should say aircraft. Now when you think about what kind of, and this was years and years and years ago that this Blackbird was retired. Now what has happened since then with technology? Well, they have all kinds of things that we don't know about and that they've been working on in these secret areas like Area 51 in Nevada and other areas. They have aircraft, they have things now that you wouldn't even believe. It's beyond aircraft. It's well, I heard tell that there was some talk that the U.S. might attack China because of the financial policies and shot these things down from space called the Rod of God, okay, which are rockets like a Star Wars type thing that just are beyond supersonic speed. They're just, and they can come right down, and they're almost like a what do you call it, a nuke, a clean nuke. Okay, it can destroy and devastate things and take them out. Now, is this happening? I don't know, but let me put it this way. It could be, because I think that their technology is pinpoint and beyond the Blackbird, okay? I mean, eons and eons beyond the Blackbird. If they had that back then. Now, see, this brings up the point of them arguing about who shot down this airliner over Ukraine. I think they know exactly who shot down that airliner. I think everybody knows exactly who shot it down. Because if they had the capability to take pictures like that from the SR-71 Blackbird, don't you think that they have satellites that are I mean, think about it. They have satellites that are Star Wars equipped, laser equipped. You know they do. They have satellites that have cameras on them. Okay, that can take pictures from space, out into space, down to Earth, all around. They can spot anything. They can watch people on the ground. They could watch a freaking ant on the ground, okay? Dig a hole. So you think that they don't know? You think that this whole thing with the MH170 or 17, I can't remember the number, excuse me, but it all just, there's so many Malaysian MHs this and MH that, and but you don't think they don't know exactly who shot that down? They know exactly who shot it down. They can look at it and see it going down in flames. They could probably look at the damn thing and see people flying out and screaming as they hit the ground. I mean, for God's sake. And you think, and we're going to, we're going to sit here and believe their stories that, well, Russia could have done this, or, Kiev could have done it. They know exactly who did it. And if they know exactly who did it, then guess what? It's like them playing a poker game with each other. Okay? It's like all the countries sitting around a big table and holding cards in front of them, and one player has cards that shows picture of the plane going down, and the other that type of thing. And it's like, well, should we play our trump card? Should we play should we play these aces we have up our sleeve? Well, if you guys don't go along with us on this, we'll play them. And Russia could be playing this game too. I think they have advanced satellites. I know they do. I mean, they're advanced in all areas, just like the West. Okay. And I think that these people might even have weapon systems like this Rod of God and other things that we don't even know about, like how about laser beams? Okay. I think that they have this capability to kind of do a little tit for tat thing, like people are talking about maybe happen in China because of the stock market and that port blowing up. I think they have the capability to do little tit-for-tat things from outer space, to cause earthquakes, to shoot laser beams, to change weather patterns. I could go on and on and on. You don't think their technology is that far advanced? Again, when that Blackbird could take picture of the date on a dime from like 40, 50,000 feet, okay, and that was 20, 30 years ago. What do you think they have now, people? What do you think they have now? You don't think that they have stuff that's, and it seemed like technology kind of slowed down. They made it look like it slowed down. Okay, so we had the computer revolution, right? Now we got the iPods. They got stuff way beyond iPods. That's just what they're letting out to the public. That's exactly the truth of the matter. That's what Great Spirit is telling me. It's like, this is thunder, this is way beyond. Sit back and think about it logically, okay? This is beyond Star Wars, you know. I mean, remember when Reagan did Star Wars? And everybody thought, oh man, that's far out, man. He's, you know, he's gonna have, you know, he's nuts. He's just trying to do a play on the Star Wars movie or whatever. No, people, that technology exists, okay? I got news for everybody, that there's technology in this world that they're using against us, okay? Now, this brings up to the point, well then aren't all nations have some culpability? I mean, here they turn us against one nation and they have their little wars and their proxy wars and their you know, their war of words, Russia and America and China, and the war of the financial systems. I think this is all a game to them. Is it all a game to them? To see who's gonna, maybe it's who's gonna be the dominant power? The dominant power. Okay, who's going to be the dominant power? And all of them knowing that they're just playing a big poker game, and they all know each other's dirty, dark secrets. They all spy on each other. They all have this sophisticated technology. They all know our secrets. They all know about what humankind is doing. So I think that this is basically way, way, way beyond our comprehension as to what's going on here. Okay. Now, does that mean that things aren't, you know, in a critical mass? Well, who knows? You know, when they're playing these games, anything could happen. You know, it's like you know, it's like Wild Bill Hickok and you know, or Buffalo Bill or Wild Bill Hickok sitting at a table playing cards, okay? Or some bad guys or some gamblers playing cards, criminals, okay? They're all criminals. They're all using mankind as their toys, their chips. They're chips on the table, okay? It's a big card game, and they're all, you know, we'll sacrifice this many people in this country, and we'll blow this many people away, and we'll have a war here, and this will balance out what you did over there, and I ante up you so many chips, so many people, so many wars. This is what I think they're doing, okay? So this is a sophisticated thing that's way beyond everybody's comprehension. You know, everybody else is just walking around. They're not thinking like Thunder's thinking here. They're not thinking like I'm thinking. They're not thinking, man, this is so far beyond our capacity to even imagine what's going on. But I can imagine it. I get visions about it. And I can see horrific things happening, strikes from outer space. I mean, we're worried about nukes, excuse me. We're worried about nukes, and they got stuff that's probably way beyond nukes. I mean, and maybe even deadlier and pinpoint accuracy, okay? And that they can use at any time, okay? I mean, think about it. They could have weapons that operate off of different frequencies, okay? High pitch frequencies that mess with your brain. There's any number of things they could have. And don't think they do not have them. They do. So they're keeping us all occupied with the seeming reality of what's going on here on Earth. Okay, with, oh yeah, we got such advanced technology with our iPods, and they got all these people, men and women, diddling their iPods wherever they go to keep them thinking that, oh man, this is so awesome that I have the latest technology that I can play around with and that I can mess around with, and I can contact so and so and see what my boyfriend's doing, whatever. Or I can play this game, or I can hook up here, or I can do this, or I can go shopping on my iPod. Man, this is so awesome. The technology that is available to me, and little do they know that the technology is 20 million times farther than their little iPod there. They probably don't even need to. All of this stuff to me, okay, even the NSA spying and the cyber attacks and all this stuff is just a big show, okay? And the countries attacking each other and the people going after each other. And so, sometimes we get all wound up in like, yeah, the financial crash and the stock market this, and they're probably all sitting there at the poker game going, okay, well, since you did this to us, we're going to cause a little wave here and boom, boom, boom. Or they could be all sitting there going, okay, what do we do next as a group of people to get the agenda we want on Earth and split up the spoils between us all? It's kind of hair-raising when you think about these aspects or these possibilities, isn't it? And so it gets to the point where mankind is just pawns, just grist for the mill. Crank them out, crank it out, and almost like slavery, and it is slavery. So how do we overcome this? When you think about these aspects, when you think about the technology that's at their fingertips, and that's why I say, ain't nothing like nature, baby. If you can get to nature, then, but see, they probably got every speck of land under surveillance. They probably know exactly where people go, where they don't go. Now, you might think, Thunder's getting a little far out here with this stuff. They can't know all this stuff. And, well, it's better to be ahead of the game and think ahead of the game. Think about what they might have, okay? And so, in a way, it kind of makes all our worry useless, okay? We have to depend on spirit to override this hellacious situation that we're in, okay? We have to open up our channels of communication, okay, our frequency. We have to tune in the frequency of the Great Spirit, the Ancient of Ancients. We have to tune into that and let that guide us, because that's the only thing that we have the only friend that we really have, the only source, okay, that we really have is to hook into that and each other. And if we hook into each other, there's power in that. I think that, as a way out of this, so to speak, spirit is stronger than any kind of technology, okay? Spirit is stronger than any kind of technology, because who created the technology Who created it? Where did it come from? Where did this technology come from? Well, it came from us, okay? It came through us, okay? It came through the most vivid and wild imaginations and dreams that you could imagine. It came through mankind, okay? But where did it come from? Where did it come from? It came from spirit, I guess. And I don't know the reason for it. I have no idea, but we can tap into that spirit too. We can tap into that spirit too, and we can let it guide us. Because really, I mean, isn't that all we have, people? Because when you put it in perspective, like I'm putting it, where we don't know, it's so far out beyond our. Well, I can imagine it because I'm sitting here talking about it, aren't I? So it's not beyond imagination, but it's beyond most people's comprehension level. It's beyond most people's comprehension level that these things could be so far out. But it could be, because when you realize that a few hundred years ago, the Wright brothers were just taking off on Kitty Hawk, and you look at what's visible to us with hundreds of tons of airliners metal moving through the air at supersonic speed. And that's just the stuff we can see, baby, not the stuff we don't see. And I think that they know a lot more, and I think they know exactly what's going on. I think they have their agendas and their plans, and the only way that we're going to stop it, or to get a handle on it, is like Thunder does, get visions from Great Spirit about this stuff and start thinking, wow, am I stupid or something? I've been sitting here thinking that watching these people argue over who shot down a plane, damn well they know who shot down the plane. They know everything. And if you don't think they have satellites out there that are constantly beaming this stuff back to Earth, well then, I guess you don't think in the same, or have the same appreciation for the darkness of technology that Thunder does. Anyway, those are some thoughts I wanted to bring up. I don't know what's happening with the Tao today. The Tao, Bow Wow Tao. It's all a joke to me. When I think about all this stuff, how easy it is to manipulate things. It's easy. Let's make the Tao go up and everybody freak out so that they know something's coming. But then we'll play with their minds and we'll pump it right back up again. Maybe this stuff isn't out of their control at all. Maybe it's completely in their control. Yeah, let's make it go up today and we'll make it go down tomorrow, and that'll keep the people on the edge of their seats, and it'll keep them, oh my God, what are we going to do next? And we really got to work harder and pay more money to the government, and it goes on and on and on, people. It's really sad. It's really sad what they can do with people's minds. That's the saddest part, is what they do with your mind. In the end, you can override their BS. Just don't let them do it. Don't let them do it. Just be aware that, hey, like Thunder's saying here, this goes way, way beyond my wildest imagination. So just assume that this is what they're doing, and you don't have to let them do it. Just being aware of it makes you aware of what they're doing. And I realize that it's kind of a depressing thing. It is to me, but there's got to be a reason for it. There's got to be, I hope that there's a reason that Great Spirit is allowing this to happen. maybe as just a final realization that it's not things, it's not technology, it's nature. I don't know. It's nature, you know. Some people say, well, God gave man free will. Free will to do what? Destroy himself? Free will to do imaginings beyond belief? See, now here's the thing. Technology, although revealed to us through some higher sources, some source, could be used differently than it's being used. Doesn't have to be used for Star Wars and spy satellites and weapon systems and aircraft and all this stuff. It could be used for delivery of goods, living in tune with nature, building solar panels, building earth-friendly houses, ridding the earth of any pollution that might have been deposited here by this technology. Technology could have gone in a whole different direction. It could have gone 180 degrees just the opposite way. Why is it going this way? Why is it going the way of destruction, the way of manipulation, the way of greed? You gotta have to ask yourself these questions, you know. And I don't know if there's an answer to them. I don't know if the heart of man is just, or certain men is just so bad that it just can't be right. I don't know why Great Spirit allows certain things. I know as a person what I would do. Let's say if somebody made me God and said, okay, what are you going to do? Well, I know exactly what I'd do. I'd make things hell of a lot easier on people. Okay, I would eliminate the darkness and the manipulation and the greed and the anxiety over the greed and all of that stuff, and I would just make it so that man was, you know, living next to nature and tribal and at peace. Okay, at peace with himself and others and the planet, living in unity. Why it's not that way? I guess that's the eternal question. Something to think about, isn't it? Guess I'll leave you with that thought, or those thoughts. This is Thunder, over and out.